Welcome to this video about the Exploren EV charging software that gives you full control over your EV chargers. With Exploren, you can start and stop your charging sessions, track your charging progress, and receive notifications for your charging session summaries. Exploren also provides valuable data analytics to our charging station owners, allowing them to view all session details, such as usage patterns, energy consumption, and revenue generated. With Exploren, charging station owners can optimize their charging operations to enhance customer experience. Please join me while I explore the Exploren backend and discuss some of the things that we can do. Thank you.
So one of the first points I'd like to talk about, especially when it comes to EV charging, is data capture. So with our charging stations, you will be able to capture data, and we will be able to capture that in the Exploren platform and display that. So whether it comes to duration of the charging session, when it started, when it stopped, how many kilowatts were consumed in that session and how much it cost, to even what periods were they charging for and what period was their car idle for. So at what point had your car reached its full battery and it had left plugged into that charger. Potentially this is an inefficiency you could address and plug another vehicle in at this time. You can filter this data with date ranges. You can export this data to CSVs, and you can use this data to make decisions for your fleet, whether you need to expand the number of EV chargers. So as you can see here, I've clicked into the charging session screen and we can get an example of what our charging sessions might look like and what the data capture looks like. We can see here the user. We can see when they started their charging session, the session status. Is this charging session ongoing? How many kilowatt hours consumed in that session, the cost, and the payment status. If we look over here, we can also see the charge point that this occurred at. I can click on this eye here to further view my charging session. For example, take a look at this one here. I could see a reason for the stops of the charging session. I can scroll down further and I can see the exact values reported by the charger as it goes. So from this example here, I can see the current being used on each line, and I can see the voltages on each line as well. I can also see that my charger is within its operating temperature, so I know that it's working well. I'm going to do a quick example of an export here. So I'm going to first sort by the date range here in the top right hand corner. Once I've sorted the date range, I'm going to export these sessions with the select action feature. This is going to prompt me and let me know that this is going to send an email with the download link to my allocated email. From there, I can open this email. I can click on the download link, which will open up this CSV file for me. And in this CSV file, I can see a much more detailed and set out view of all those charging sessions I was seeing earlier in the platform, which you could then import to your own platform or analyze how you see fit. Another important I'd like to touch on here is charge points. Now, it's vital that we keep our charge points online as often as we can, because a charge point offline could potentially mean a vehicle off the road, and that's something we'd really like to avoid in almost every situation. So if I take a look here at the charge points screen, I can see a list of all of my chargers here that I have at my site. I can click view on the right hand side here to see some more details about that charger. Now, if I take a look at the system status, I see enabled, my connection is available, and my hardware status is available. I can see my connector there labeled the EVSE. The EVSE itself being each plug on the charger. So if your charger had 2 plugs, we'd have 2 EVSEs here. Now, we can see also on that EVSE that the status is available. If this EVSE were to be used, we would see charging, we would see preparing, or we would see finishing to indicate the state of that EVSE. Scrolling down, we can see some more information about the charge point, and we can see the charging sessions that pertain to that charger as well. Finally, we can see this communication log, which would give us a detailed explanation for every communication between the platform and the charger. However, in most cases, we won't need this because this is for diagnostics and for support, though the information is accessible to yourselves if you would like to know. We can also see this hardware status log and network status log, which would indicate to us if we had any sort of connection issues or hardware issues. Reporting. Have auto-generated reports at a glance. So another great feature that Exploren comes with is this auto-generating report feature. We have filters for just about every factor. So which charging station, which location, which user, even AC or DC. So we can take a look at set things such as our revenues, session durations, energy consumption in just a few minutes. We can customize the time period that we take a look at, and this graph is just quickly generated for you, as you can see on my screen here. So you can manage and skip the frustration of not having these vital metrics at your fingertips, or you don't have to worry about opening it up in Excel and generating reports. These stats, whilst can also provide insight to your charging stations, can also provide sustainable driving public relations stories for social media content or for your marketing team as well. And you can create your presence in the EV charging space. We can also see a total number of kilowatts consumed in that month underneath the graph here. Exploren also has many levels of access to sites. If you want an overseeing account that has access to many of your locations, you can have that set up, with each site having its own accounts to see only their charges. With this setup, it's already pre-configured for you when you set up the software and once you fill out the form. With this, we can make sure that everyone has access to their own data as appropriate. Now, when it comes to billing for your EV chargers, propose you have a fleet, and propose with that fleet your drivers hire the vehicles out. Those drivers, you would also prefer to pay for the electricity or the charge that they use during their driving. We can do this by putting tariffs on the chargers, and with these tariffs, we can recoup the electricity costs so that you can come out at a net zero. These tariffs are also fully customizable, so if you would like, you can put a bit of a margin on top of that to make a bit of money and turn this into a slight revenue stream as well. We can also do tiered tariffing. So, for example, if I had staff on my site who require the free charging and may use, for example, RFIDs, they can have a free session compared to someone who just uses their mobile phone and has a paid session. Pricing for tariffing has many options, though we definitely see one of them being the most popular. This is the duration plus energy. So this would be billing them for the duration that they are in the car parking space and also the amount of kilowatt hours that is consumed. Again, this is fully customizable and we can do it per your requirements. You can also take control of this and edit this yourself. With tariffs, we can also do things like promotional or free periods, which can be managed and ended at any time. We can also charge more during the peak times and charge less for overnight off-peak times. We can do an hour-by-hour, kilowatt-hour charge that may suit your particular billing for electricity. Many customizable pricing schemes are available, so you can control this at any time and edit it at any time, with changes being implemented almost instantly. Now, if your priority is not to bill your drivers, but your priority is to make sure that only your drivers can use these chargers, we can also take control of this. By turning your charger into a commercial private charger, we can make sure that only your invited users can access the charger, and you have control of the list of who can access the charging station. You also have control of RFID cards, adding and removing from the platform, so that you can allocate these RFID cards to your drivers, which is something we see very commonly with fleets. Another point I'd like to discuss is load management. EV chargers are extremely high demand in terms of electricity, and at most sites, we won't be able to reach the demands for electricity required by many EV chargers. So, Exploren has a built-in load management function. We can use this to set a site limit, as you can see in the example in front of me, 250 amps per phase, which these chargers will have to share. So, for example, if I have 10 of these chargers which draw 32 amps each, I will have a total demand, if all these chargers were on, of 320 amps, which exceeds my site limit. So, with the load management built in, what we can apply is 25 amps for each charger as per our maximum limit set here. And these charges will all charge at a slightly slower rate. However, we will avoid any tripping of the board and avoid creating issues, whilst also providing charge for all of our vehicles still. We also have features such as charge point priority or even user priority. If you have a vehicle that must be charged at full speed, this vehicle can receive that, and the other charges will be downrated as required. Now, something else I'd like to mention is API. So Exploren does have a fully open API program interface, which you can use for your business. If you'd like to use your own platform, if you'd like to export the data that you get in the Exploren platform, if you have an IT team to work with this data, please reach out to us. We can provide our API docs for you. We can help you with a tutorial or an introduction. We can help you with even some example programs. So with this, we can import everything into your own platform and create one big space for all of your data. We can offer a training, and we can do a full, more in-depth run-through of the software application. One of our team members can speak to you about this. And once you're signed on, you can make sure that your setup is exactly how you want it to be, and you're getting what you need to be getting. So there you have it, an overview of the key benefits of Exploren software for monitoring and reporting on your electric vehicle charges, and for taking care of your fleet of chargers.